That's not what we're talking about today. We're talking about, oh yes, Gay Obliviscaris, CITADEL. I'm just kidding. Nay Obliviscaris, CITADEL. This album is awesome, and we're going to talk about why. And you can click this creepy... No. Click the Triforce that totally isn't a triangle that represents fire if you want to skip the big, long album as a whole section and hear us just talk about what we think of the record instead of spoilery going into detail about each song. Because that's what we're going to do now. Okay. The first 3 songs on the album are under the umbrella name Painters of the Tempest, and it's this big-ass 23-minute multi-part thing, and the first movement is basically just a violin piece with a lot of distortion and effects pedals or whatever the hell Tim Charles is doing with his violin, and it sounds pretty cray.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know, I feel like Tim was like trying to create like a really crazy alternative soundscape with an acoustic instrument.
That's true.
Like
he kind of succeeded in that point.
Yeah, and like it's like you're listening.
Oh, it doesn't just have violins. It starts out with like piano in the very intro.
Yeah. And like I feel like they were creating like I feel like it was added in last minute.
Michael likes this album more. I'm going to let him talk a little bit more than me.
But no, like I feel like the opening track.
Oh, it was last minute. Something that about this record is like the first song is like that intro, and it's like barely over 3 minutes. The next one is the bulk of Painters of the Tempest. Oh, sorry. And it's about 16 minutes, and then it has a little sort of outro at around 3 minutes again. And this, like, once it goes into the violin, like, he starts playing melodies and stuff, and it layers on top of each other with this immense wall of reverb. And eventually it just becomes just this wall of just white, noisy kind of dissonance, picking up where, you know, the noisy end of the last record left off. And I feel it's a bit too loud and a bit too harsh on the ears to really start off this track. It's like, I want to get to the riffs, and I just have to sit through this to get there.
I know how you feel. Like, honestly, though, like, on first listen, that's how I felt. Like, I felt like it was too much. Like, it was like it was like something that shouldn't be there, regardless of it. But after hearing the album time in and time out, like, I realized that opening was like the super like cock tease of the record.
Yeah, we've talked about this song for about as long as its duration. We shouldn't be spending that long. So let's go ahead and talk about the bulk of the piece, Painters of the Tempest, which is Triptych Looks, and it itself is split up into 3 movements, and I'm going to go ahead and get my complaint out of the way about this song. The band members personally feel that this is like the best thing they've done to date, but for me, it could easily grow to that point, but right now, I'm still just like feeling like this piece is a little too incohesive for their sound. Like, it's just sort of like new idea after new idea after new idea, and it doesn't let you get comfortable with like keeping a riff spinning like they did so masterfully on Portal of Eye. That's how, you know, you get absorbed and you get lost in it. Like, this is just a little more ADD. But there's so many good riffs in this. Like, the opening riff is just fucking killer. And there's this one section at about 6 minutes in that has just the craziest, like, lead riff I've ever heard. That's one of the best musical things ever. And it has so many ups and downs and great... Nay Obliviscaris is the master of dynamic contrast. I said that in the Portal of Eye review, and it holds fucking true here. And, like, the all-over-the-placeness of the first part, which is called Creator, for this second movement, it gets kind of confusing. And then it calms down in Cynosure, and then it calms down, but stays, like, metal in the final movement, which they released as the first single, Curator. But it's kind of all over the place, but that in no way means it's a bad song. I love it. I just... At first listen, I felt like it was my least favorite thing they've done so far, but it's already grown on me a ton. I feel like I like Painters of the Tempest even more than the song Pyrrhic, which we're going to get into next, but it's just...
Honestly.
You say everything you want to about this. You have a lot more to say about it.
Okay, Triptych looks like the thing about this track in general, like he mentioned, was the incohesiveness. You see,
it's all over the place, but
some people can't.
Some of the ideas are so good.
Like their minds, like like you said, like they're not allowing you to get a full grasp of each riff as the song goes along.
That's true.
Like, I mean, I like that personally. Like, I'm a type of person.
I like it in so many bands. It's just when Neo does it on a 23-minute song, I have a weird, different opinion that I don't usually have.
I mean, I feel you
on first.
Like, because this is not something that Obliviscaris has done before.
Totally, it's totally new for them.
Yeah, and like upon first listen of this track, I got so into it. Like, I was almost, like, in an ultra-deep meditative state from the song.
I was kind of into something else when I did.
Yeah, I know what you mean. But, yeah, like, and the one thing I must say about this track is there's a cello, like, piece.
Yeah, there's a cello part at the beginning that plays this super, like...
It's just so...
emotive, romantic melody towards the first half.
Like, the instrumentation of this track...
It also needs to be said that Benji... their guitarist, their newest guitarist and member, has written most of the riffs on this album, and he has this sort of bouncy, like, arpeggiating the chords kind of style. With a lot of slides on the guitar. His style is completely unique, and hearing it in full-fledgedness in this band, in the rhythm parts, as opposed to just the lead parts, is great. Say what you want to say about the instrumentation, then I feel like we should move on.
Yeah. The one thing about this track, as I must say, is, yes, it's very incohesive. But
it's good as fuck.
Yeah, the instrumentation.
This band can't write a bad song.
Yeah, like...
do not think we're not saying this song is subpar. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's
this band cannot write a bad song.
Like, if... Yes, it's inconsistent and incohesive. But the instrumentation and the amount of effort they put into this track is utterly apparent. And it's like... I just love it. It's addictive.
I looked like I was nodding like Brenny when he plays violin.
Yeah.
Anyway, then it winds down after the curator movement even further with a beautiful bass solo from the person we just mentioned, this beautiful slow tapping thing, into a piece that, again, Obliviscaris haven't done before. The outro for the Painters of the Tempest idea, which is Reveries from the Stained Glass Womb. It's just violin, and it's just acoustic guitar. And holy fucking shit, if it's beautiful. It is beautiful. Like, there's a lot of, like, really complex passages going on here that furthers that feeling that you get from what's come before. Because Triptych Lux is just, like, all over the place, all over the instruments, yeah. But especially there's this one part where Tim's doing this arpeggio, like, he's basically sweeping on violin. And it sounds awesome. Oh, and the album just dropped. The album dropped a while ago. Anyway, it's just fucking gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous way to end side one. If you're vinyl listeners like us. Anyway.
Yeah.
Anything you want to say about Reveries?
Honestly, I feel like Obliviscaris couldn't have ended a track better. Honestly, I was expecting this from them after a while.
That after you.
Like, they have a way of ending their songs, like in Portal of Eye. Like, they always have that just magnificent ending. This was like that in this sense. But what made it different for Neo was the fact that they separated the ending from the song. Like, it was a completely different... Like, a completely different field, but on its own.
Well, the thing is, I think Triptych Lux was originally the song because they played just that live before, and they added the intro and outro afterwards.
Oh!
Yeah, I figured that out, but I didn't like the way this ended at first. It just always felt like it ended out of nowhere. Like, just the chord it chose to end on. Dee-doo-doo-doo. Those are the last few notes. It just leaves you longing for more after 23 minutes. That just feels like... I still feel the endings for Pyrrhic and Devour Colossus are stronger than the ending to Devour Colossus. Everything about that song. Everything about that song. We're going to get into it.
Yeah.
Anyway, but yeah, but it's grown on me. This whole song has grown on me a ton, just like Bren said it would, because we talked to him a lot. It's just weird. But anyway, yeah, let's go ahead and get into side 2 with the song Pyrrhic, because we've already talked about this a lot. And I feel like we're going to have a lot to say about the album in general. The song Pyrrhic is about as long as this video's already gone on. Yeah, my videos are long anyway. But it starts off straight into this super aggressive but very melodic death metal-y kind of riff. And this is where, like, I feel this point on in the album, I love how it's structured. It's brilliantly put together with, like, the motivic material as opposed to, like, Painters of the Tempest. Because, like, it's got sort of a verse-chorus kind of structure, but not really. Like, where it chooses to surprise you with new ideas and remind you with other ones. Like, it does, like, this sort of verse thing, and then it goes into the key sung line, which is, "Oh, fortune." It starts with that, and then it goes back into a verse, but then this riff just comes out of nowhere with blistering solos on it, and it's just, like, this, like, odd time over a waltz kind of feel. Yeah, it's undescribable. There's a video of their guitar player playing it on YouTube during an interview, and I actually chose to listen to that part and Curator from Painters of the Tempest only before I heard the album, and the rest was totally a surprise, and I'm glad I did that because there's so much to discover on this record. But eventually it gets even more aggressive in the middle, like, more than it was in the beginning, and then it super winds down. One of the things in the interviews they said is that the album's quieter parts are quieter, and the loud parts are louder. This song is the ultimate evidence of that. And then the ending is just massive and super good, like how you said you thought about the ending of Painters of the Tempest.
Yeah.
The Reveries.
Yeah.
Movement.
Yeah. I don't know. The thing for me about Pyrrhic was when I first heard it, I was just like, I was blown away. Like, you know, it was, like James said, the way they put this song together, the way the pieces come in and out.
It's the most cohesive song on the record.
Yeah, and, you know, especially, I'm going to be honest with you, the way Tim, like, his
violin is crazy.
Yeah, his input in this song, in my opinion, I'm just saying this now, yes, Portal of Eye is an amazing fucking record, but his work in this track is just potent as shit. It's just as potent as Portal of Eye, but it's very potent to me. Like, I was just ripped apart by his playing in this song.
Yeah, man. Anything else you want to add, or should we go to...
We should go to... Yeah.
Devour Me, Colossus is, I'm going to say it right now, in the top 10 pieces of metal music I have ever heard. It is that good. That is Obliviscaris' masterpiece to me. And it does not work. They split it into two parts. It does not work unless you listen to Contortions, and we'll get into why. But first, I want to say, this piece is not quite as cohesive as Pyrrhic, but oh my fucking shit, does it work? Oh my god. This piece, like, Painters of the Tempest, they said on, like, if you look on the back of the record, it says it's split into basically 5 different sections. But Devour Me, Colossus is 5 brilliantly developed sections. Basically, I'll just give you a quick rundown that doesn't spoil too much. The intro is just like, this perfect riff. I can't even describe it. And then, like, this catchy sung vocal line that comes back. There's one in the beginning and there's one towards the end of the 12-minute chunk that is one track on the album before the outro. And those two sort of make the ends. Like, the really, really emotive, catchy sung vocal lines from Tim. And in between that, you've got some really cool ideas from Benji and Matt going on in the guitar. Like this really hella brutal riff, followed by this, like, almost like gypsy, like, dance, calmer moment.
Yeah. And
then it goes back into... Honestly, like, this song could be described as one of their catchier songs, but really, like, it's just a progressive, just ultra uber piece of music.
Yeah, it's just...
Every single riff is captivating. Every single note is captivating. It's kind of hard to describe music when it's in this high of a caliber, but this is my song of the year, other than a song on Zerath. Hail Zerath for life. Okay, I'm sorry, fanboying is that over. But this is just brilliantly put together. And then the outro, that last little bit, Contortions. This is a song that's supposed to be about depression. and overcoming it and keeping going through life while you have it, from what I understood from like a little question AMA on Reddit that Zen answered from the band pertaining to the lyrics here. But the outro, Contortions, which is just violin again, is about how the depression is always there. And there are, unfortunately, people that, you know, really, really feel that and can understand that. I've never had to deal with depression, but I've had people in my life that I care about more than anything that have. And it's just, hearing this music gives me that potency. It doesn't give me the potency of depression, but it just hits me the hardest after hearing all of the other music preceding Devour Me Colossus. I think I've cried on more than one occasion listening to Contortions. It's literally the most beautiful violin playing I've heard on an actual violin. There's a violin line on an Obsidian Gate song, which is a symphonic black metal band from the 90s that I would say is my favorite violin line ever. Sorry, Tim, but this song is a masterpiece, and if there's one takeaway song, I would say that it's Devour Me Colossus. Sorry, you could have interjected at any point of that, you know.
No.
Okay.
I wanted to say what I wanted to say about Devour Me until you were over. So.
Okay, go.
Honestly, when I first heard this track, my preconceived notions of Neo melted away. Like,
yeah, no, me too.
Like, I mean, yes, Portal of Eye is still, like, one of the greatest albums of the 21st century. This song, and just in my view, in my opinion, this is just my opinion, but if you take all of the emotion in Portal of Eye and condensed it into one almost 20-minute piece, there's your example of Devour Me. It's just that emotionally powerful.
That's true.
And it's just, there's a section in the song called a breakdown. Call it what you want. But
not like Anne Plague's breakdown.
No,
what do you mean by that? What point are you getting at?
I'm getting to the point where Brenny comes in.
Oh, okay, I'll say how the last section with a really hooky melody that will stay in your head forever starts. It starts with everything just drops out, and Brendan's playing another one of those bass tapping ideas, and it's just brilliant. And it builds. It builds!
Yeah,
it builds all the way to the end! Yeah. And that build is, insane. Like, hell, maybe we'll even upload to YouTube our reaction of hearing that for the first time, just so you guys can get an idea of how crazy good the build is.
Yeah.
The song is just perfect, though.
Yeah.
The end. Album is amazing, and let's talk about why before we assign, silly little number to it for how amazing it is. But the album as a whole, hello if you clicked the Triforce to skip here. What should we start with? I think we should start with the performances of all the players.
Performances, definitely.
Zen's screams have developed in the high and low of his register a lot, to the point where he just sounds like a monster now.
Yeah,
even more so than the debut. And I really hope he didn't throw out his voice playing some of these shows live like his doctors apparently told him he did. I really hope that.
Yeah, and they were all sick during part of the Australian tour.
Yeah, but then, you gotta take into account, this is really, yes, it's the band's album, because, everyone contributes something. That is just undeniable. But so many of these riffs come from Benjamin Pyrrhic.
Yeah.
And his style, as I think I said during part of talking about Painters of the Tempest, is just out of this world. It's insanely cool hearing, a whole album's worth of this kind of riffage. Just wow. Wow, this is for all of you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. But just the soloing at points is even better than, some of my favorite parts of Portal of Eye. I think I talked in the Portal of Eye review, one of my favorite solos of that year was the one in Of the Leper Butterflies. That piece where they're shredding their balls off in Pyrrhic, so much better, even. Holy shit. Yeah, Benji and Matt do just some fantastic guitar wizardry here, And so does Brendan.
Yeah,
oh my god.
Man.
If there ever was a guitar wizard, it's you, buddy.
And bass, though. Yeah, I don't know. What I must say about Brenny in this album is that in Portal of Eye, he sounded like he was tense. He was...
Oh, because he was, I bet.
And he was like, you could still hear him in the mix, But he sounded tense, and, you could tell that, like, in this album, he just noodled out. Like, he's just, like, butter on a hot pan.
I don't know. I feel like I can notice the bass more in the debut than this one. And maybe it's because of the production. Oh, by the way, Dan has some crazy parts, too. What he's choosing to do. Like, the very opening of Painters of the Tempest, he's doing just straight blast, but, like, interesting kick alternations during that. Like just on and off kick stuff, which is really cool. And Tim's violin playing. And just overall... The takeaway from the performance is it's definitely an improvement on all factors.
Yeah.
I feel like there's not quite... It's only 40 minutes. There's not quite as many, like, acoustic breaks on this album.
Yeah,
there's a lot of what you got from that on the first album condensed into Reveries of the Stained Glass Woman.
Yeah.
For sure.
And, like, how in certain songs of Portal of Eye, how Tim would do that staccato,
Yeah, some of the staccato and his falsetto isn't quite as prevalent on this record as something else to note.
Yeah.
But let's get into the production a little bit. Now, I'm personally starting to realize that, and this might be something I have to say in every review, that I'm growing less fond of compression in production. And I do like clarity, though, but I think there's a way to get things clear without being to the point where everything is so upfront and so recorded. No, so recorded to line level. This isn't even pertaining to equalization yet. That, like, it's just too in your face. And I feel like this is really prevalent, and it shows its face in, like, the middle of Pyrrhic, where the really tremolo blast beaty riff happens. It's hard to hear the guitar melody when that first starts kicking in. It's really, really hard. And I don't think that should ever happen where the drums are over the guitars. But most of the time, everything's crystal clear. And I feel like, being a bass player myself, Brendan's bass could have been a little louder. But really not too many gripes with the production other than, like, just I'm not a big fan of compression in general.
I'm going to be honest with you. The production of this record is...
that thing that we threw away. Yeah. The new At the Gates. Just check out Slaughter of the Soul. The full dynamic range rendition, if you want to get an idea of what I think is, like, insanely good production-wise, I guess.
I don't know. For me, I feel like this Citadel is a quantum leap in comparison to Portal of Eye. Yes, Portal of Eye, the production is amazing. It has that uniqueness. It has that, like, subtle...
Yeah, like the production, it definitely is, like... Well, I don't know about better, but it feels like it's easier to listen to, as strange as that may sound.
Well, it's
because based on how I was saying it may sound like it seems like it would be harder to listen to, but it's really not. It's really easier to listen through this whole record and hear most of the intricacies of what's going on.
Yeah, but I'm going to be honest, though. There were parts of Portal of Eye and, like, the intricacies, like Tim's staccato and falsettos, the crazy bass taps and bass harmonics that Brendan does. Like, I feel like what they did in this record was they mellowed out and they tried to be more straightforward. Like, just try to be as straightforward as possible.
I don't know if I agree on that.
Not lyrically, but musically, I feel like they've become... more straightforward. Not in the instance with Painters of the Tempest.
That's their noodle out moment. But other than that, I 100% agree with you.
Yeah.
But in comparison to Portal of Eye, I'm just going to make a quick Opeth comparison because, like, there's only really two or three members of the band that would probably tell you that they're influenced by Opeth. And definitely, like, Matt is one of them because... I mean, he's the guy playing a PRS, just like Agerfeld plays a PRS, go figure. But, I compared Portal of Eye when it came out to Blackwater Park. Like, this is the Blackwater Park of this decade. It's a fucking masterpiece. Blackwater Park's degrown on me since I said that. And now the record that I thought was the least amazing, but still amazing by them, is now by far my favorite by them in that Still Life. And it had some weird... Are you okay?
Yeah.
Get back on here. There's some weird parts in Still Life. There's, like, weird melodies that I didn't get at first and that I loved some of the most on that record now, like in White Cluster. Like, weird note choices. And there's some weird note and structural choices on this album. But already, like I said, Painters is growing on me. I feel like the whole record could grow on me, and I could love it way more than Portal of Eye. But that hasn't happened yet. Unfortunately, I cannot give this a 10. This is a 9 out of 10 for me. Is there anything final you want to say before you give your rating as to maybe why you're giving it this rating you're giving it?
Okay, I want to be honest with you. There are two main reasons why this record has impacted me the way that it has. Number one being that I've gone through a lot of mental problems and health problems, and I've been trying to work myself into a better person. This album, along with those things that I've been doing with myself, have helped. Two, another thing being, like, the men in this band have influenced me more so than just about any other band I know out there. Yes, Opeth. Yes, other bands.
Look.
If you can see it, yeah.
It says Opeth.
Yeah, but yes, Opeth. Yes, all these other bands. Yes, I like prog. But this...
Yes, I like prog.
This is like I feel like this album is going to go down in history. Like some Opeth albums. Like...
It can. Definitely, I agree.
And I mean, yes, there's going to be that select few out there that probably will think otherwise.
Especially given the successful crowdfund, and they're going to be all over the world. This is a legendary crowdfund that's directly tied in with this album.
Yeah, and like they've done so much. They have quantum leaped since the Aurora Veil. Like they went from being just a band and from Australia,
and now with this album,
like just about any other person I run into, I'll ask them like, "Hey, are you familiar with Obliviscaris?" They're like, "Yeah, I see them around, but I don't know any of their music." Yeah, but honestly, if I was to give this album a fair rating.
Why? Really quick, I wanted you to get into, like, why, like, just summing it all up.
Really? Like, it is what I've been expecting from this band for a long time. Like, when I first heard Portal of Eye, I'm like, oh my god. And then they released this, and it's like, it's everything that Portal of Eye wasn't. That's just my opinion.
I don't know about that. I just think, like, it's a furthering, and there's, like, different roads they could have took, and they chose this one.
I know, like I said, it's my opinion, but
okay.
It just, yes, I feel like it can grow on me, but as of now, I'm giving it a 9.5.
Nigga, give it a 10. Quit lying.
I'm trying to be as honest as possible.
Okay, let's just ignore he said that and say it's a 10, and we're both gonna mutually give this a 9.5.
Okay.
Bye! We have a little bonus video for you now. Holy fucking shit! Oh, sweet majesty, Balakor. Oh, yeah. I'm ready. Yeah. Babe, what are you doing? They just are gods at music, and they spend all their time making their music so good.
Babe, have you even heard Xenofucks?
I mean, it's
shitty.
But this is the greatest album of all time. Oh my god!
Oh yeah. Oh fuck yeah, Balakor. Oh, I want you all to suck my dick while I suck yours. Balakor. Of breath and blood.